there's this room where I was working on the plaster, and I took a few minutes out to talk to someone about some other stuff that's going on in the house. And while we were talking, we heard a giant crash, and the part of the plaster I had not yet stabilized is down in a terrible heap on the floor. Right there. Big mess. So you can see those little drill holes are the place where I have stabilized it, because that's where I injected the glue, and you can see that held. And the part I hadn't gotten to yet, kablooey.
Before this happened, there had already been a great big hole in the ceiling. Now there was an even bigger hole. After we had fixed the issues with the plaster, like in every other room, there was painting and stenciling to do, a light for Gabriel to make from scratch, and the floor to revarnish.
So what I'm doing here is painting a primer over the places where the paint... Oh, okay, good, that fell on the plastic where it masked things. That's good. So what I'm doing here is that because someone not overburdened with brains had left a huge gaping hole in the roof and ceiling, but decided that despite the holes, they needed to paint this room before fixing the roof or the ceiling. So there was, a waterfall coming through this room that they had painted sometime in the 1980s. Like I said, not overburdened with brains. Anyhow, the paint was peeling off, and so I am painting primer over the places that had holes where the paint was peeling off, like some sort of, house leprosy or something. And the reason I'm doing that is so that they sort of blend into the rest of it when I then repaint the whole room. Because we have fixed the roof and the ceiling, and it's time to get this room actually looking good.
This was another room where the original stencils had been painted over, so when it came to choosing our own, we revisited our motif of the ruined temple overgrown with flowers. While reading an antique magazine from shortly after our house was built, I happened across an article describing wisteria stencils being fashionable for bedrooms around that time. Gabriel was in favor of the idea since it reminded him of the wisteria growing over the porch of his childhood home. I added ferns to reinforce the overgrown temple motif, and also as a reference to the fern fever craze from earlier in the Victorian era. As I continued painting, our bedroom started to take on the look of a springtime bower. Gabriel says it's like sleeping in a garden. Down around the baseboards, I reused the violet stencil I'd gotten for accents underneath the roses in the library. In nature, violets come in a variety of different shades, so I mixed various paints together to give the violets in the bedroom a different look from the ones in the library and from each other. To complete the woodland garden feel, I wanted to add ladies' slippers and lilies of the valley. Incidentally, fans of First Wheel in Town, Book 1 of the Tales of Chetzemoka, might recall from Kitty's bridal bouquet in the story that in the Victorian language of flowers, lilies of the valley signify return to happiness. Unfortunately, the only stencils I could find for either of these were too modern, too expensive, or both. I wound up painting them freehand using pictures for reference, especially the lady's slipper picture from an antique book on wildflowers. Books are useful references for any number of things.
is a normal screwdriver with a normal stainless steel shaft, but after screwing in all of those anchors over and over and over again, you can see how it's worn down. It's been a long haul. Kind of reminds.
After we'd done all that work on the room and I'd repainted it and revarnished the floors, the kiddies had a lot of fun exploring this room that they'd been locked out of for so long. They seemed especially fascinated by that bright, shiny floor.
Thank you for watching today. I hope you enjoyed these videos. If you did, please give them a nice thumbs up, and don't forget to tell your friends about my books. Buying these books and telling your friends about them is the very best way to support what we do, so I really appreciate it. Happy reading!